What's going on, friends and family? My name is Skylent, and today we are going to be talking about my personal pick for my top 10 upcoming free-to-play MMORPG list. Been playing MMORPGs for basically all my life, okay? Professionally for 5 years, okay? With Free MMO Station specifically working over there as freelance. So you might think that I have an eye for free-to-play MMOs, but I've also played a lot of them, and I know there's a lot of bullshit out there, but I think that these are probably our best bets, even if some of them aren't the greatest bets, right? Okay, so these are the most unique games, and each one kind of offers something different and special. Hopefully that you'll find something on this list that'll be fun and enjoyable for you. But then again, remember guys, they're going to be free. At the same time though, they're upcoming, and we don't quite know how MMO they're going to be or how good or polished or yeah, all that good stuff. Intro aside, let's get into the top 10. All right, so Peria Chronicles. I want to talk about this game first. And by the way, the list is completely unordered. I'm just throwing it out there, okay? Pretty casual stuff here. Peria Chronicles, though, is looking really good. And I think that this is just complete bias for me, honestly. But at the same time, in my top 10 list, I really have to put it here because there's not really that many good free-to-play games coming out that are MMOs. But Peria Chronicles, regardless of if it has all the features that it planned, which is truly ambitious, I doubt it's going to have everything, but just the way it looks, okay? I love anime. I'm a big anime fan, okay? And a game that looks as good as this with its graphics and, you know, the little pretty anime particle effects and the shading and everything, the cell shading, oh my god. It looks so good to me. Now that's my bias. Then again, I could just list off all the different features. It's really ambitious. I don't think they're gonna have all of them, but there's like this Pokemon style, you know, kind of combat system. It looks pretty explosive. It looks fun to me. And there's supposed to be this really cool like town customization thing going on. I don't know how all the different monsters are gonna be, how many monsters. I don't know how the customization is really gonna work in the end because it's been having some development issues, but it just looks really good. That's all I can say. That's why it's on the list, guys. Okay, so another game that looks really good, but at the same time, we've seen extensive gameplay from it, and I think they're going to really nail this game. It's going to be Lost Ark. I don't think anybody is really doubting if Lost Ark is going to be a decent game. The only problem that I think a lot of people have with Lost Ark is the cash shop. It is a Korean game that is mostly action RPG. Don't get me wrong though, it is still going to be an MMO. Like, it's still going to have MMO aspects. It's still going to actually have an overworld that you can explore, even though it is very dungeon focused, though many MMOs are. Lost Ark is going to be an MMO action RPG, which is kind of revolutionary, almost a little bit actually. But Lost Ark looks so good, like graphically, mechanically, it has so much going for it. I love all the classes. They seem really unique. I mean, of course, you got your spin to win class here. You got your default, you know, mage over here, but the way they all are utilized and all the extra stuff that they can do is really fantastic. So yeah, I think all the different classes and the class customization, how it works in this game is going to really take the front in the cake. I don't know, those dungeon monsters look pretty fucking epic too. All right, next game is going to be a game that's a little bit more low-key, actually. It's called Eminence Xander's Tales, and I put it in a recent top 10 for crowd-funded games. Yeah, this has actually been a crowd-funded game. I mean, it was lightly crowd-funded, not super-duper high, but this is going to be an MMO CCG, and I know we just had a video talking about, can any game be an MMO if it's popular enough? No, I don't think so. I don't think, Hearthstone is an MMO because it's popular. But the difference here is that Eminence is, actually there's an overworld. You have a character, you go explore a world. It's just the combat system it goes into like a little, instance, and you guys, you play like a little card game thing. And it actually reminds me a lot of, I don't know if you guys ever played Final Fantasy 8's or 9's card game thing. It kind of reminds me of that. So really interesting concept here as a CCG. It seems unique, but then as the overall concept that you actually go around and travel the world as an MMORPG and, interact with other players, trade cards and actually steal cards from beating them, that sounds super hype. Next game, let's talk about Bless Online. Now, Bless, I really wasn't looking forward to. I mean, I thought it looked good. It kind of reminded me a lot of Final Fantasy 14. Like, this seems like it's going to be, the free-to-play Final Fantasy MMO. But the fact that they're willing to actually revamp their combat system, which also is actually kind of similar to Final Fantasy, makes me very, very excited. Okay, normally, free-to-play games tend to be budget games. They tend to be. But Bless Online actually seems like it's taking initiative and is trying to make really, probably maybe the best game that they possibly can. It seems like, they made a first rendition of the game, and during the betas and during the tests, people said the combat was just a little bit slow. Everything else it looked good, it played good, and Bless Online is actually like, okay, every night, you know what? We'll make it a little bit better. We'll make it a little bit more action-packed. You want some action? Let's go. Let's do it, fam. And so that's what's going to happen. Hopefully that is. Okay, there's still an upcoming list. We don't know what these games are going to turn out to look like and be like in the end, but Bless Online is definitely one of those contenders that could be frickin' amazing. Well, now. Let's talk about Gloria Victis. And what I want to say right here is Gloria Victis will be free to play, guys. I know it's in early access. And you know what early access means? It means that you can access the game early if you spend money. Sometimes it's free to play, sometimes it's not, but Gloria Victis will be free to play when it leaves early access. It's just right now, it's in early access. You spend 20 bucks. Now, do I recommend that you buy it now? No, I don't, because Gloria Victis has a long way to go, but I've played it since literally they gave me press access. And back then, that was really, really rough. It was bad. It was really, really bad. Honestly, I gave it a thumbs down when I played it then. Yet, I still didn't have a horrible time. It was just really clunky. However, the game has come so far, and I've put it on every top 10 that I possibly could have since then. So, yeah, I really feel like I want you guys to know how I feel, and I feel pretty good. I feel pretty good about Gloria Victis compared to a lot of the other games in the genre, like Life is Feudal. No, I think Gloria Victis is going to be the one, guys. Okay, MapleStory 2. Now, I don't actually know how MapleStory 2 is going to really be, okay? Like, I don't even know if we're gonna get it properly in the West. I don't know. MapleStory 2 is a really weird game because MapleStory 1, I mean, a lot of people will say it's an MMO, and it's a very social MMO, I guess, but it's also very action RPG. It's very instance-based. It's very dungeon crawly at the same time. But MapleStory 2 is it going to be like that? Because like the graphics look totally different, the gameplay looks totally different. So I don't really know what to go off of. Like, is it going to be a proper MMO? Is it just like a bunch of instance mini games? Either way, it's being published and kind of like proclaimed and advertised as an MMO. So I'm going to say, hey, MapleStory 2 is an MMO to look out for, but at the same time, are we even going to get it in the West? I don't know, and what are we going to get when it comes to the West? I completely don't know. All I know is that it looks cool, and it's got a pretty big lineage, you know, so yeah, the history of MapleStory 2 is enough to speak for itself, I think, to be put on a top 10 list for free-to-play upcoming MMO. You know what I'm saying? All right, next up, we have a game called Lineage Eternal. Lineage Eternal now kind of scares me. I haven't played it yet, and I think it's definitely directly competing with Lost Ark, okay? So, but Lineage Eternal is doing some weird shit, okay? If you don't know, actually, Lineage Eternal is going to have a party system, and what I mean by that is that one character will control, I believe, 3 different characters, and I've only ever seen this in, like, I don't know, tactics-style RPGs, and I've only ever seen it in one other action RPG, and that was called Lego Minifigures Online. And in that game, it was actually really awesome, okay? And I think a lot of people are going to just overlook that, or maybe become biased and be like, oh, no, I really just want to play my one class, I don't really want to do that. Dude, I promise you, this is going to make Lineage Eternal very unique. It's going to be very special. And I think the PvP in this game is actually going to be really, really exciting as well. It's going to be weird. Now, I think the only other MOBA that has character switching or any other game ever is a MOBA called Master. So I've played that game, I've played Lego minifigures, and I've played a lot of tactics games, but real-time games with hot swapping characters is weird, it's different, but I've played those games and it has worked for me personally. Maybe it's not going to work for you, but I can say that it's going to make it kind of interesting and unique. Now, how MMO-ish is Lineage Eternal? I really don't know. It's supposed to be an MMO, but then again, you know, marketing and everything. Lost Ark, I know, is going to have a proper overworld, but is Lineage? I don't know. Either way, it's going to directly compete with Lost Ark, and really my bet is going to be on Lost Ark, but still, Lineage Eternal, it seems like it's trying some weird shit, and I kind of like that. I appreciate that. Okay, Dark and Light, guys. Dark and Light. This game, what used to be a game? It used to be a game, and it completely failed. And it had like dinos and stuff, and it was like a fantasy arc thing. Anyways, and basically it's being remade, and it's supposed to be like in a new engine and, you know, revamped mechanics, and it's just supposed to be overall better. But a lot of people are really disliking a lot of the trailers, and it seems like the overall mood of Dark and Light is that this is probably a cash grab of some kind. This is, I mean, obviously the trailers look kind of good, like graphically, but like it looks cheesy as fuck. And maybe that's its gimmick, dude. There's some cheesy, dude. Ark itself, Survival Evolved, is cheesy as fuck, and yet it works, dude. So Dark and Light, it's actually more cheesy because it's more like a fantasy like Ark, but it's supposed to be like an MMO. I don't actually know how MMO it's gonna be, but it's, yeah, a fantasy Ark sounds pretty hype to me. I guess a lot of people are talking about it, for better or worse. We'll have to see. Okay. Now, next is Skysaga. This is going to be pretty much for debate here, how immersive Skysaga is, how MMO it is, how RPG it is, because a lot of people look at it and think that it's just Minecraft, and you can kind of actually play Skysaga like that, a little bit. Like, you can actually just, you can make and build your personal island, you can kind of create mini games, you can create, like, you know, castles or like a personal house. You can kind of do that, but in order to do that, you need to go on adventures. And normally, I would consider this in an action RPG genre, but it's incredibly social, it's incredibly online, and even though the whole world, like, unlike Minecraft, everything is separated by instances, but those instances are open instances. So if I could describe it, it's kind of like Guild Wars, actually. Like, Guild Wars is highly instance game, but most of the time, you just kind of go back and forth between the instances, and people are, you know, jumping on, like in Skysaga, you're jumping into these islands as other people are persistently playing these islands. So So even though there are loading screens, it kind of actually works like a sandbox game. And in fact, I believe I put it on my sandbox MMO list pretty freaking high. So Skysaga has a lot of charm to me. The PvP is actually pretty hype too, and unlike Minecraft, the combat is actually pretty legit. I've done a lot of jumping puzzles, I've played a lot of player islands with the mini games, I've jumped into these dungeons as well as played with other players, and there was a nice little level of difficulty, even for a childish looking game like this, and there's some really interesting mechanics with dual wielding or using a bow, and I really want to see where they go with the quest, because the quest system's pretty hype as well. I just want to see where this game goes. They've been taking the betas and the testing very seriously. It's been in development for a long time, and I just really wanted to rain on Skysaga. So if that's cool, cool. Lastly, let's talk about Revelation Online. I say this for last because I have the least to say about this game. I did my first impressions, I rage quit the first day, came back the second day, played it a little bit longer, and I started to kind of appreciate the beauty of the game. There are some scenes where there's some fucking flying whale going through the air and then crashes into the ocean, and there's a lot of kung fu stuff going on, and there's a lot of really cool mechanics, okay? Like if you just look on paper, there's I guess 100 versus 100 world open battle things. People are going to be fighting over giant, monster spawns in the world, guild versus guilds, because they want to fight for the monster loot. And that's cool. There's supposed to be giant monsters all around. But the story's really cheesy. Maybe it's supposed to be like that. Maybe it's lost in translation. But overall, Revelation Online looks like it's taking ideas from, like, aesthetically, Blade and Soul, mechanically, a lot from World of Warcraft, actually. And overall, it just seems like a bunch of games that you've already played just kind of mashed into one. Maybe that could be good if you come into it with a little bit of humor, a comical sense of like, oh, this is such a gamey game. It's such a, MMO. This is an MMO. Like, it's so obvious that it's a game. It's so arcade. But sometimes that could be really fun. I know personally Black Desert's like that, actually. It's very arcade, it's very aware it's a game, and that's okay. So Revelation Online might surprise us, but right now, I don't know. Anyways, friends and family, that's going to be the end of the list. That's all I really have to say. Hopefully you enjoy the casual nature of the list, because I really don't like, just copying and pasting, from Wikipedia or some shit, just like, oh, this game does this and that. No, I really like to kind of give my real thoughts and opinions from my experience of playing lots of free-to-play games, and also, this is the big thing, analyzing publishing material, okay? So there's certain games, they do certain gimmicky things to make it seem like it's a cool game, Ashes of Creation, and it's just, it's just marketing. It's just Kickstarter-y, language. I want to see what games are actually going to have substance or whatever, and I think that the games on this list have the best chance of actually having substance, but still, there's a whole lot of, markety bullshit. At least I played some of these games, but still, they're upcoming. We don't know everything completely. However, these are your best shots at having a good time if you want to play a proper MMO for free, okay? Anyways, tell me your thoughts and opinions. If there's a game I missed, leave it in the comments below. We can talk about it, open the discussion, open the gates. The comments floodgates, man. I think it's gonna be good times. Anyways, thanks for, having me, guys. Thanks for watching the video. Hope you guys have fun yourselves. My name's Skylent, and I'll see you in the next one.